Alrighty guys, so we are at harvest now. Our onions are ready to go. We pulled them out of the soil last night and they've been sitting out drying. It is going to rain again, so we are going to take them inside to finish the drying and curing process. But I did want to film this video for you guys because a lot of you requested it, and although I can't go through the entire growing season with you because I did not film, unfortunately, videos of our growing process throughout the season, but I can at least kind of give you guys some extra tips on what we did. So we got these onion sets back in November of 2018. They were just little, green onions. They didn't have any bulbs on the bottom or anything like that. They were just straight little green onions with some roots on the bottom. And we planted them directly in the soil. And we planted them with the recommended spacing. I think it's like 5 to 10 inches apart or something like that. We did not, overcrowd them. Giving them adequate space is really important. Making sure there's no weeds competing with the root space is extremely important because the onions will not fight. They literally just will not fight against any weeds. So just make sure your beds are always clear of weeds, especially before you plant and also throughout the entire growing season. Another really, really important thing is adequate water, consistent adequate water all throughout the growing season, even in the winter time. If you are not getting rain, you definitely need to make sure your beds are moist and that these onions are getting consistent water because that's when they're forming their buds, and if they don't have consistent water, they will not grow big. One of the other things that I want to mention is our soil. It's very well drained soil. We actually have some perlite in there that helps with the drainage, and that's pretty important because you don't want the beds to stay super soggy. You want to keep them consistently moist, but you don't want them soggy. Soggy can cause the bulbs to rot, obviously, so you just want to make sure you have well draining soil, and soil that's pretty nutrient dense. That does help with bulb formation. Obviously any sort of nutrient or microbes in the soil are going to help the bulbs grow big. And then, of course, consistent feeding throughout the growing seasons. We did about 1 feeding per month, and then we stopped about 2 months before harvest just to make sure that the bulbs didn't overgrow and start splitting and rotting out and that kind of stuff. So that's basically the main tips I would say that I have for growing onions. And then also being very patient. That's something that's really, really important. Being patient throughout the growing season, not pulling them too soon. We did plant these onions back in last November, and they're just now ready to harvest in May. So you will get antsy. You'll want to pull your plants soon because you'll want to get your spring plants in here, but you just got to wait it out, and then the plants will tell you when they're ready. And when they are ready is when the stalks start to die like this and turn yellow, and then obviously you'll be able to tell by the size of the bulbs on the surface of the soil how big they actually are and if they're ready to go. So at that point, once you determine that they're ready to harvest, you're going to go ahead and break off, or break over, not break off, but they'll be in the soil and you'll break over the stalk like that. And then at that point you'll let the plants kind of mature a little bit longer for maybe a week or so, and then you'll pull them out. Ideally you want to leave them on the soil for a couple days to dry out in the sun, but it is raining for us, so we are just going to pull them inside, braid them, and let them finish curing inside. So that is basically all my little growing tips for onions. I hope that this helps you guys, and I hope you guys pull off some amazing onions this coming fall, or I guess you could plant some now and grow them out through the summer, and they'll be ready in fall. Summer's pretty harsh on onions, so I would honestly wait till the winter time, but I hope next spring that you guys get a really beautiful, decent onion harvest. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and leave them down below. I'd love to answer them for you guys. Happy gardening and take care. I'll see you guys in my next video.